PR Connections Radio presents.
Welcome to Vegas Hockey Hub here on PRConnectionsRadio.com, the voice of new media. I'm your host, Ian Rakelli, and on this edition of Vegas Hockey Hub, we're going to be doing a player profile, and this time we're going to be talking about a prospect, a guy who has been coming through the system and the ranks of your Vegas Golden Knights. And of course, we're talking about Jonas Rondbjerg. And this is going to be a really good video because there's a lot that people do not know about this guy. Because here's the thing about him. He has been someone who has been in the AHL for a couple of seasons now. This is a player who, when you really stop and analyze what his career has been at this point, it's a situation where when it comes to Jonas Rondbjerg, this is someone who you can really look at and say, okay, this is a player, this is a guy who, when you actually study his stats and break down what he has done this throughout his entire career in the juniors, in the world championships, when you see everything that he has accomplished, it's actually quite interesting seeing how far he has come at this point in time. So overall, when it comes to him, a very interesting video. This is something that we've actually been in the works with for a while now, and something that I'm really happy to be reporting on here on this show. And it's going to be a lot of fun breaking this down. I cannot wait to sit here and talk about this player and talking about this guy out here in the AHL/NHL with your Vegas Golden Knights. And this is going to be a video that, like I said, going to be very different, I guess, kind of what we've done in the past. But overall, this player profile is going to be about a guy who has been in the Golden Knights system, someone who's been in the Golden Knights organization, and someone who, when it comes to what he has done throughout his career, this is somebody that we definitely do need to talk about at this point. So, really breaking this down and getting into it here on Vegas Hockey Hub with your host, Ian Rakelli. And this is going to be a fun episode for sure. So, really getting into this, let's break this down right here. Now, when it comes to Jonas Rondbjerg, this is somebody who came from Denmark. This is someone who actually was born in Denmark back in, back around then. And then when it came to his hockey career and what he did overseas, it's a lot of interesting stuff we can definitely talk about on that front. So, overall, getting into everything, this is going to be a lot of fun. So let's get into it here on PR Connections Radio with your host, Ian Rakelli. And as we're going to be talking about and doing a player profile on number 46, Jonas Rondbjerg, who has been a member of the Vegas Golden Knights for the past couple of seasons as a prospect in the AHL and has had a cup of coffee in the NHL with your Vegas Golden Knights. So really getting into what he did leading into the NHL, leading into the AHL, leading into what he has done up to this point. Now, this is a guy who comes from Denmark, and he plays his first 2 seasons playing in the highest level of hockey in Denmark. And in those first 2 seasons playing in Denmark, he would play in 65 regular season games, have 13 goals and 5 assists, and he would have 18 points in his only 2 seasons playing in Denmark. Now, what he also did in those 2 seasons, that he would go to the playoffs, and he would actually play in 11 playoff games and only registered 3 points in that time period. But overall, when it comes to Jonas Rondbjerg, his first 2 seasons playing junior hockey, this is someone who at this point, 15 years old, 16 years old, out there in Denmark, really trying to establish himself, really trying to make a name in the hockey world. Now, what Jonas Rondbjerg would eventually do is that after playing 2 seasons in Denmark, starting in 2016, he would move over at the age of 17 and play for the Swedish Hockey League and play for the Lakers of the SHL. And during those 3 seasons, and I want to say thank you, by the way, to Hockey Reference and to EliteProspects.com for giving me all this information. In 2016, 2017, he would only play 5 games in the SHL for the Lakers. He would not register any points during that time period, but he simply got a 5-game little taste of being in the Swedish Hockey League. Now, for the people who do not know, the SHL, the Swedish Hockey League, it is the premier league. It is the top-tier division of hockey in Sweden. So Jonas Rondbjerg, at the age of 17, goes from playing in the highest level of hockey in Denmark to then moving over and playing in the highest level of hockey in the Swedish Hockey League out there in Sweden. So year 1 only plays 5 games. You know what? Small cup of coffee. His second year, he would play 35 games for the Lakers, have 6 goals and 11 points. Unfortunately, they would not make the playoffs in that time span, but that would be his first full season playing in the Swedish Hockey League back in 2017-2018. And then, unfortunately, 2018-2019 would be the last season that Jonas Rondbjerg would be playing in the Swedish Hockey League for the Lakers. And in 45 games, he would only register 6 points in that time period. The Lakers would eventually move on to the playoffs in the Swedish Hockey League. Unfortunately, they would be bounced in the quarterfinals. So, for Jonas Rondbjerg, his 3 seasons playing in the Swedish Hockey League, playing in the Premier League out there in Sweden, he would only register 8 goals, 17 points in 80 total games. If you're accumulating the regular season and playoffs, Jonas Rondbjerg would only have 17 points throughout his tenure in Sweden. So, only 17 points in 80 games. You might be asking yourself, well, how did he get on the Golden Knights' radar? 17 points in 80 games. Well, how did he end up becoming a player that would eventually be drafted by the Vegas Golden Knights? What's the connection there? What's the reason why that he would end up becoming a name out there with your Vegas Golden Knights? Well, in the lower series of Sweden, they have a junior hockey league called J20. And J20 is the highest level of junior hockey in Sweden. And in his 2 seasons playing in the J20, he appeared in about 50 games and had 38 points, 11 of them being goals while playing junior hockey in Sweden. So even though he only played 40 games in the SHL during that time period, it was his 50 games playing junior hockey in Sweden where he really got the attention of scouts, where he got the attention of future prospects and stuff like that in the NHL. Also have to mention that there is something else that would happen with Jonas Rondbjerg that would get the attention of everybody in the NHL, but I'm going to hold that off for just a minute. So after his tenure in Sweden, okay, after being in the Swedish Hockey League, after playing there for 3 seasons, after having 2 seasons playing in Denmark, Jonas Rondbjerg, he would be up and eligible for the NHL draft, and he would be selected in the 3rd round of the 2017 NHL draft. He'd be taken by your Vegas Golden Knights. And something interesting about this, by the way, is that this is an original pick by the Vegas Golden Knights. This isn't a situation where it was a draft day trade. This isn't a situation where he was actually, acquired via a draft pick the Golden Knights acquired during the expansion draft. No. With the 65th overall pick, the Vegas Golden Knights did select him with their original pick. They did get there. However, I do find it interesting, players who were drafted in the same round as Jonas Rondbjerg, players like Michael DiPietro, who, by the way, is playing for the Boston Bruins in their system right now. You also have guys like Morgan Geekie, who is out there and now playing for the Boston Bruins organization. You also have some really solid players like Stuart Skinner, who is a goaltender for the Edmonton Oilers. And then you also have Cale Fleury, who is currently a defenseman for the Seattle Kraken. So, overall, in the third round of the 2017 NHL Draft, there have been some solid support players that were being selected at that time around the same area as Jonas Rondbjerg. And, really interesting on that end and something that you do have to point out. Now, I did mention earlier that I was going to hold off on this for a bit. We are at that bit right now. Jonas Rondbjerg would also get a lot of notoriety and a lot of attention because of what he did in the Team Denmark. Jonas Rondbjerg would be with Team Denmark. He would compete in the World Championships, not just once, not just twice, not just 3 times, but he would participate 4 different times with Team Denmark in the World Junior Championship. Now, let's back this up for just a minute, okay? Just to back this up, in 2015, he plays for the World Championship for Denmark, but that was considered a really interesting situation where in 2015, he plays in 5 games for them, but he only puts up about a goal and an assist in that 2015 situation. Now, the reason why I technically am not counting it here is because it is called the IIHF Under 18 squad. So it's a little bit different than the actual World Championship. So the World Junior Championship is up here, and the Under 18 team is under here. So in actuality, Jonas Rondbjerg, he appeared in the World Juniors 5 times in Team Denmark, but 4 of them was for the Under 18 team, and 4 of them were for the actual World Junior team. So in 2015, being on the Under 18 team, he did play with them for a little bit, and then in 2016, he would play in the World Junior Championship for Denmark, and he would actually only get 1 point in 5 games in 2016. Keep in mind that this is also a Team Denmark that is a team that really isn't expected to dominate the World Juniors. This is a situation where Team Denmark, it isn't like you're going up against Team Canada. You're not going up against Team Finland, Team Sweden, Team USA, Team Russia. This isn't a situation where you're seeing, stars all over the board. But when it came to Team Denmark, he had a very good impact in that situation. Now, something that I will mention here is that in 2016, in 2017, in 2018, and in 2019, Team Denmark finished around the bottom in almost every single category. Their best record was a 5th place finish in the World Junior Championship during the run Jonas Rondbjerg was there. Now, I will also mention, and I will include on here, when it comes to his time playing for Team Denmark, playing with them, in 37 games, he would have 8 goals and 26 points while playing for Team Denmark from 2015 to 2019 on their Under 18 or their World Junior Championship squad. And in fact, his best performance, and actually was a top 5 in that tournament that year, Jonas Rondbjerg in 2017, he had 4 goals and 9 points in just 5 games in the Under 18 team. So Jonas Rondbjerg, his stats were not that great in the Swedish Hockey League. For anybody who didn't see it before, I'm going to replay it again. He only had 8 goals and 17 points playing for the Swedish Hockey League. But it is his impact during the Olympics and his impact during the World Juniors is the reason why Jonas Rondbjerg ended up getting drafted by Vegas. It is his impact playing for them that he ended up being a future NHLer. Now, with Team Denmark, he did get joined by future NHLers. Alex True, there's some guys out there from San Jose. the goalie right now for the Ottawa Senators. But with Team Denmark, something did happen with him. And I did find it a bit interesting. In his 5th and final season being on Team Denmark in 2019, Jonas Rondbjerg would be named the team captain of Denmark. And actually, even though they finished 10th in the World Junior Championships that year, it is still an accomplishment, the fact that Jonas Rondbjerg was named the team captain for Team Denmark in the World Junior Championship. So after having a very high profile and a very well-known Olympic and junior career out there in Team Denmark, Jonas Rondbjerg would then make the jump to North America, and in 2019-2020, he would actually play the final game of the season for the Chicago Wolves. Now, something interesting that did happen with Jonas Rondbjerg is that in 2019, he signs his entry-level deal with the Vegas Golden Knights. He's at training camp. He's at development camp. He is suiting up and playing on the North American soil for your Vegas Golden Knights. Keep in mind what his age is at this point. Jonas Rondbjerg is 20 years old and is now jumping over to North America. So what would be the curve? What would be the situation with Jonas Rondbjerg at age 20 coming over to North America for the first time? How would he perform? How would he actually play in 2020, 2021 for the Henderson Silver Knights? In his first full season playing for the Vegas Golden Knights, he actually did relatively well with the Henderson Silver Knights, as he had 6 goals and 7 assists in 38 games in the regular season. And then during that situation, the Vegas Golden Knights, Henderson Silver Knights, he does that situation there, and he accumulates 15 points in his debut season playing for the Henderson Silver Knights. So taking his age and considering the transition period that would go from being in Denmark to being in Sweden to now being with the Vegas Golden Knights organization, playing in Henderson, 15 points in his first season, that is a good start for Jonas Rondbjerg. Now, the good news for Jonas Rondbjerg is that he would actually play in the 2021 Calder Cup playoffs, as your Henderson Silver Knights were good enough to be in the Calder Cup playoffs. And in 5 games in 2021, he would score 2 goals for the Henderson Silver Knights, but they would get eliminated early on in the Calder Cup playoffs. But that is a good situation for Jonas Rondbjerg. It is a situation where he would play his first ever playoff hockey here in the AHL. Eventually, the NHL would move on much later. But for Jonas Rondbjerg, his first playoff action in the AHL, and he scores 2 goals in a 5-game series. Now, moving over to 2021-2022, his second full-time season playing in North America, his second full-time season suiting up for the Henderson Silver Knights. Well, good news would happen in the preseason, as Jonas Rondbjerg would be named a prospect to watch in the Golden Knights organization. So at this point, he is 22 years old, and he's getting some attention as a prospect in the AHL with the Henderson Silver Knights. And that 2021-2022 season would also be historic for Jonas Rondbjerg, as on October 14th, 2021, in the second game of the season, Jonas Rondbjerg would be called up to Vegas from Henderson, and he would start his first ever NHL game. He would suit up against the Los Angeles Kings, and Jonas Rondbjerg would eventually earn a roster spot and kind of a part-time gig in the NHL with Jonas Rondbjerg. So, getting into this situation here, with Jonas Rondbjerg, he plays a few minutes in the NHL. In fact, he would play 30 NHL games in 2021-2022, and then he would play 41 games in the AHL that season. So, how did Jonas Rondbjerg do in his second full-time season playing in North America? Well, in 41 games in the AHL, he would take a massive step up and have 14 goals and 27 points for the Henderson Silver Knights. So for Jonas Rondbjerg, just think about it real quick. He went from 8 goals in his debut season to 14. He went from 7 assists to 13. So for Jonas Rondbjerg, he almost doubles what he did the previous year. And in the NHL, he only played 30 games, had 2 goals and 4 assists for the Vegas Golden Knights on their bottom 6 in the Vegas Golden Knights organization. Once again, I have to say thank you to Hockey Reference and Elite Prospects for giving me this information, all the stats I am putting out now. Oh boy, 2022, 2023. 2022, 2023 is a very interesting situation for Jonas Rondbjerg because in his third season playing in the AHL, he would play in 54 games, have 12 goals and 28 points in the Silver Knights organization. So his goals went down by 2, but his overall points went up by 1. So for Jonas Rondbjerg, he was kind of consistently becoming a dozen goals on the year and getting about 25 points in Henderson in the AHL. But that's not what I'm focusing on here. With Jonas Rondbjerg in 2022, 2023, he would play in over a dozen games for the Golden Knights in that season. And even though he would not be on the roster, even though he would not be skating up for the Golden Knights, he would be in the locker room. He would be in the suite when the Vegas Golden Knights in Game 5 hoisted the Stanley Cup final and hoisted Lord Stanley over their head in the 2023 Stanley Cup Finals. Jonas Rondbjerg, at the age of 23 years old, would be a part of the action and would be in the locker room as the Vegas Golden Knights won the Stanley Cup. And with a guy like that, it would be very interesting to see what he would do in this season with the Vegas Golden Knights and with the Henderson Silver Knights. Now, Jonas Rondbjerg has only played 18 games this season. He has only played less than 20 games in the Vegas Golden Knights campaign in the NHL. And his stats, by the way, 1 goal and 2 assists for the Vegas Golden Knights in about 18 games. But that's not the issue here. The issue with Jonas Rondbjerg is that in the AHL, he would play in 41 games. And in 41 games, he would end up having 6 goals and 14 assists. So, overall, you ended up having a 20-point season with the Henderson Silver Knights with Jonas Rondbjerg. So, once again, kind of keeping the momentum there of, you know what, I'm going to get you 20 to 25 points a season in the AHL for Jonas Rondbjerg. But where do you go from here? Because with Jonas Rondbjerg, it's a situation where, you know, you're scoring about 20 points a season in the AHL, but you're also scoring not that many points in the NHL. And the crazy thing about the Vegas Golden Knights is the transaction history with Jonas Rondbjerg. This is a guy who has cleared waivers not once, but twice with the Vegas Golden Knights. In 2022, they put him on waivers. He cleared. They sent him down to Henderson. In 2023, they put him on waivers. He cleared, and he got sent down to the AHL. Now, there's a positive and a negative way to look at it. The positive is that because you cleared waivers, you're staying with the organization, you're staying with a roster, you're kind of going back and forth, AHL, NHL, that situation. But more importantly, the organization still wants you on the team, but you are no longer waiver eligible. Or the negative is, because of your stats, no team is willing to claim you So you stay on the Golden Knights organization. So it's a positive or a negative. Either way you look at it, that's just the whole glass half empty, glass half full situation. But that's not the interesting note about Jonas Rondbjerg I want to talk about. Oh man, I really want to talk about this so badly. Okay, over the past 2 seasons, I don't think I've seen anybody get sent up and sent down as much as I have seen Jonas Rondbjerg get called up and get called down. Now, I am going to use 2023, 2024 as my reference here, okay? All right, September 30th, 2023, he gets placed on waivers. He clears waivers on October 1st. He's in the AHL. October 12th, yay, he's called up to the NHL. October 16th, sent down to the AHL. October 28th, sent up to the NHL. October 29th, sent to the AHL. November 2nd, called up to the NHL. November 3rd, AHL. Next day, NHL. Oh, AHL. Like, Jonas Rondbjerg, I'm not making this up, kept on getting called up and sent down every couple of days. November 8th, called up. November 11th, sent down. November 12th, hey, called up. November 19th, a week later, called down. He was in the AHL and the NHL back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. That's what it felt like Jonas Rondbjerg was doing this entire season. As somebody who does a show called Vegas Hockey Hub Recap, where I break down every single game of the season with the Vegas Golden Knights, I can't tell you how many times I had to put Jonas Rondbjerg as a graphic for the lineup changes. I can't tell you how many times I had to type Jonas Rondbjerg in the roster move category before the game kicked off. Because Jonas Rondbjerg kept on getting called up and sent down so often that it was a graphic I felt like not deleting and just keeping. Now, to give you the actual comparison here, and this is really curious to me, Jonas Rondbjerg was recalled and sent down 24 different times in one season. In one season, he was sent up and sent down 24 different times. Talk about a busy travel schedule. I mean, could you imagine you being recalled and sent down again and again and again? Because that's really what it felt like. It felt like he was just being called up and sent down. Hey, you know what? If that's your role in the organization, I understand it. But it really seems like Jonas Rondbjerg at this point in his career is the hand-picked guy to be a healthy scratch, then to be sent down to AHL. Oh, wait, there's an injury? Put him on the fourth line. Oh, wait, somebody needs to be put back on there? Okay, healthy scratch. Wait, healthy scratch? Okay, put him back down the minors. Oh, wait, somebody got hurt again? Okay, call him back up. Obviously, I'm spending the last couple of minutes kind of bringing this up nonchalant, but honestly, that is really the impact Jonas Rondbjerg has with the Golden Knights. He is their secret weapon. He is what Kelly McCrimmon and George McPhee and Bill Foley and all the people over there, he is the guy that they count on to be called up last minute. The Golden Knights trust this 25-year-old who has played about 61 games in his NHL career to be a guy that they can call up at a minute's notice, get your skates on, and you're going to go play in the NHL right now. Oh, wait, you know what? We're going to send you back down. Now you're going to suit up in Henderson. Now, we have about a minute left, so I want to give you the overall stats for Jonas Rondbjerg. So in the AHL, he has scored 88 points in 173 games. So you know what? That's not bad for a career in the AHL. The fact that he has 88 points in his career at this point in the AHL. And in the NHL, he has 10 points in 61 games. Now, considering he's a bottom six forward, I'm not supposed to be expecting a lot from a bottom six forward. So, for Jonas Rondbjerg, 10 points in 61 NHL games and 88 points in 173 AHL games. So, this is Vegas Hockey Hub. I'm your host, Ian Rakelli. And until next time, continue watching hockey, go support junior hockey, and go Knights, go!
PR Connections Radio thanks you for watching this podcast. Check out more episodes of this show and our others at prconnectionsradio.com.